What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's having a good day out there. Wrapping up my day. Um, Seen a few things that were kind of strange today. Resting day. Not really a big day though. I drove about 100 miles. Delivered a load. Set it to cold storage for about 3 hours this morning, and then I drove about 4 hours back over here to um, Indiana, and I got to pick up in the morning. So that's what we're doing. Um, so yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm hanging out in Indiana. I got an 8 a.m. pickup in Chicago in the morning. Um, Came back, tried to get Denny's again. Twice. Denny's, no cook. Saturday night, no cook, and then went in earlier and tried to get Denny's, and yeah, no cook. No cook. Said they have a cook here in about a half an hour, and I was like, okay, good for you, because I will probably find something else before that. So that happened today. What's up, driving by Braille? How you doing today? Appreciate you coming in. Um, so you're gonna venture into your own authority. I get the feeling that's where this is going, because like when people start researching it, and when people start putting research into it, like in the in depth of like getting insurance quotes and things like that, they're pretty much ready to go for it, I think. Um, but yeah, stopped in here. I was gonna go into the customer tonight, but decided to stop here at Love's. I had to take the leaf blower and blow out the trailer. Wasn't really much debris in it, just some little wood chips and dust, and like when the I got a grooved aluminum floor. You know how the forklift tires like shred rubber on those things, and you get like little powder rubber in the grooves. I stopped here. I blew all that out, and yeah, probably cruise across the street here in a minute and try to find something to eat. Or maybe by that point, I don't know. Maybe the cook will be here at Denny's. They said the cook said he would be here in 30 minutes. So I don't know. You never know. If y'all could, when you come in, hit that like button for me. It just kind of pushes out the live chat to more people. Let's see. Jeremy Griggs is here. Thanks for coming in, Jeremy. Thanks for letting me know you're here. I appreciate that. And Driving by Braille says, I'm torn. Yeah, I'm getting that authority, man. I don't know. I don't know. It's one of those things. I can't, like, I I just don't know all the facts, so I can't really go much into it. But I can tell you this, just the fact that you're thinking about it after being over there for 5 years, it tells me there's something you're wanting more. So maybe it is time to venture out there. And like, that is a pretty sweet setup you've got there, being leased onto that company. But at the same time, it's like, to get through everything you've gotten through, and not be like completely bankrupt, shows that you're pretty good at business, in my opinion. So, um, you may do better off with your own authority. Who knows? Um, but it sounds like a pretty sweet setup you got. So I mean, I see why you're torn on that. Um, you know, that's that's a good point. Let's see who else is in here. Jimmy Griggs says, I got about 20,000 in the bank. I'm getting a truck as soon as I hit 60. Yeah, are you going to buy a truck cash with that, or is that is that just like what you need to have to? When the first time I got my own authority and I bought a truck and everything, um, that one was more like I had more money saved up. But then when I bought my second truck, it was razor thin. Like, I did not have a bunch of extra money, and I just built from there. But I probably had about $15,000 at the time to put into that trucking venture, and I put about 5 or 6,000 down on the truck, and luckily it worked out. But I was leased onto a carrier that was a pretty good carrier. I kind of felt like if I had anything major go wrong, they might have helped me out. So that always helps. Um, Truck and Mo Biz is in here. Everybody go check out Truck and Mo Biz. How you doing this afternoon? And check out Driving by Braille as well. Both very good channels. How's the dirt moving in Minnesota going these days? Still a lot of construction up there. Every time I come into town, it looks like they're rebuilding half the city. So hopefully you're getting in on that. Jeremy Griggs says, "Yeah, good used truck for about 25K. Yeah, that's a good place to start. You know, I really don't count the first truck I bought because I bought that in 2008 when the market was just garbage. I got my own authority, and that was a big waste of time because 2008 was just, for a guy just starting out, it was horrible. And to be honest with you, I didn't have enough knowledge of the trucking industry or business. So I kind of came in light on a little of both. I'd been driving for about 2 years, and I had run some businesses before, like when I was younger, but as far as the day-to-day running of a trucking business, I didn't know enough, and you really needed to know what you were doing in 2008 to survive. You really did. What kind of truck are you looking at? Do you have anything specific? I always recommend people, like if you're a company driver and, you like the company truck you're in and, it holds up and it works good and you get good fuel mileage, look into something like that because you're already familiar with that truck. But, that just depends on a lot of things. But yeah, the first truck I don't really count. The second truck I bought was a $30,000 T600 from MHC Kenworth, and it was a dang good truck. It really was. It had a cat engine in it. It had a few things that were wrong with it right off the bat, but MHC in Nashville, the guy that I bought it from, he really stuck behind the truck and he got some things fixed for me. And I bought it as is, and this was like a couple weeks down the road. I had some issues, and he got those things taken care of for me. So I like that part of the MHC Kenworth family of dealerships. They're all over the Midwest and the Southeast. But one thing I will tell you about any truck dealership, if you're one man with one truck or one man with a couple trucks to a dealership, you don't mean that much to them. MHC in Nashville used to pull my truck out to pull in other fleets that owned a lot of Kenworths. Like if Melton or Trans Am or one of those pulled in, my truck got pulled out and they got pulled in. They took priority. And I complained to the shop about it, the shop manager, and the shop manager basically told me, he's like, it's above my pay grade. It comes from higher up. When Trans Am is buying I think he told me they buy about $40 million worth of Kenworths every year. They have a contract every year, and they're buying like that many trucks. It's tough to compete with. I thought 44 million seemed a little high, but I don't know. When you think, they probably got a couple thousand trucks in that fleet, of Trans Am, I'd say at least 2,000, 2,500 trucks. So I don't know. If you're buying 500 or 600 trucks a year, yeah, you may be up in that $40 million range, but I get why they do it, but that does tick me off about big dealerships. But yeah, 25,000 is a good spot for your first truck. You're not going to be in too far over your head. Let's see here. Truck and Mobile says, going on, go. My most expensive truck was 45K, 35K can buy a nice truck. Yeah, I mean, you really can. You don't have to go spend a whole ton of money, especially right now, man. There's some real deals out there if you shop around a little bit. Um, let's see here, Jeremy Griggs, your face is melting. Okay, I don't know. Am I sweating, or is it something going on with the screen that's causing it to do that? Young Trucker 215, thanks for coming in, Young Trucker 215. Says evening, everyone. I appreciate you coming in. Jeremy Griggs is in here. An oil sample will tell you a lot for like $30. It is a wise investment. See here, Jimmy Greek says, Coach's Place, select trucks sound like a good place. Select Trucks, is that the Freightliner dealership? Select Trucks, they're pretty good. What's the other one that is in like Missouri and Illinois? Truck Centers, I think they're called Truck Centers. It's a Freightliner dealership. They got some pretty good used equipment. So, yeah, check out places like that. I got mine at a Volvo dealership. It's a Freightliner, but I bought it at a Volvo dealership. So, Jeremy Griggs, yeah. So Select Trucks, Freightliner Select Trucks. Yeah, that's a pretty good place. You just got to do your research on. If you're gonna get a Cascadia, I would pay the little bit of extra and get a Evolution. I think it's worth the money to move up and get an Evolution. So yeah, what's everybody else up to tonight? I seen a guy in the Loves earlier. I was so irritated that I did not have my phone with me. I left it in the truck charging, and I walk into the Loves bathroom, and there's a guy coming out of the Loves bathroom, and he kind of gives me a weird look and like holds his head back like that, like kind of like a warning of, oh my God, you're fixing to walk into something horrible. And when I walked in there to the Loves bathroom, there was a guy washing his feet in a urinal. I'm not even playing with you. Had his feet up in the urinal, just slamming that flush button or handle, just slamming that flush, water everywhere. I mean, like, just a puddle of water on the floor, and he's just in there scrubbing his toes in the urinal. I was like, I would give anything for a picture of this. Like, I wouldn't even record him. I just want a snapshot of what's going on, because I'm like, this is epic. I mean, I've seen people wash their feet in the sink. I seen a guy in a Pilot in Kentucky one time, standing in his underwear at the sink, like taking a full bath. Like clothes, like up on top of the paper towel dispenser, standing there in his underwear, like fully taking a bath. Water everywhere. I was like, and then when I left the bathroom, I was in the store getting soda, and he come out of the bathroom and went straight to his truck, which was parked at a fuel island, mind you. And I was like, yep, that's a Pilot for you. So yeah, that was the weird thing of the day. A guy washing his feet in the urinal. Always kind of mental note, like what was the craziest thing you see during the day, or the funniest thing you see during the day. And yeah, that took the cake. And when I went to check out, the guy that gave me the head back, like weird look when I was going into the bathroom, he was at the register in front of me checking out, and he told the girl working the register, he goes, and I've never had to tell anybody this before, but there's a guy in the bathroom washing his feet in a urinal, and he's making a total mess in there. Just a heads up. And that girl had the most stunned look on her face. Like, she had on a mask, so I couldn't see her mouth, but her eyes were just like, thank God I don't have to clean the men's bathroom. Like, that was her look. So yeah. So Jeremy Griggs, you looking at a Freightliner, I assume. Yeah, there's some good deals out there, man. Don Stronger, I'm probably killing your name, but Don's here. Appreciate you coming in, Don. We always Always appreciate you coming in. If anybody hasn't hit that thumbs up for me if you could. And there's Jeremy Griggs. Wow, $20 for better internet. Right? Um, I don't know. You know what was screwing up my phone? I think was the weather so bad last night when I did the live. The one last night wasn't as bad. I did one yesterday afternoon, a live that was just, it was so bad. It just kept pausing and messing up. And I think what was doing it is there was thunderstorms in the area. And for some reason, when I plug this phone in, this phone goes haywire when I plug it in as far as doing lives. So, no more plugging in the phone. I just have to start with a full battery and we go until it won't go anymore. Yeah, oil samples on those, Jeremy. And I would also recommend, if you get it from Freightliner, throw some money at a warranty on that joker. Because you'll still have a little bit of down. Trucks are like snowflakes. Yes, they are. No two are the same. And I tell people, like, I've had people ask me, is it a good time to buy a truck? Or, like, what kind of truck should I buy? It is literally like buying a scratch-off lotto ticket when you buy a used truck. You may hit the jackpot and get one that just goes and goes and goes, never has any problems. And, like my last Freightliner, I had a 2013 Freightliner. It did pretty good at the beginning, and then, man, when it started going bad, it was just one thing after. I mean, I couldn't keep it on the road. Like I sold it just to pay off the amount I owed in the credit card debt for fixing the dang thing. Just to break even on it, and I bought that truck straight out at the beginning, and yeah, I guess it's good I bought it straight out because I didn't have a payment on it. There's no way. I mean, it sucked too because I was making really good money at the time. This was like 2018, 2009, early 2019. I mean, I was making really good money, especially at the end of 2018, like around the holidays. Oh man, that money was really good money. But when you're putting, when you're putting 10 grand a month in a truck just to keep it on the road, man, it is hard to justify it. Jeremy Grigg says, people are nuts. Yeah, when you see a guy washing his feet in a urinal, I'm just thinking, like, how dirty do your feet be, or let me rephrase that. Let me speak like I actually know a little bit of English. How dirty do your feet have to be to say, I got to wash them in a urinal? Like, that's pretty messed up, when you're like, my feet are so dirty, I'm willing to get pee on them to make them cleaner. Like, whoo, that's a rough go. And thank you again, Jeremy, for that $20, man. I appreciate that a lot. If the cook ever comes in here at Denny's, I'll probably go in there and buy a lumberjack slam with that and sleep like a baby for about 10 hours, be in a food coma. Driving by Braille. Everybody go check out Driving by Braille, by the way. I am like captivated to see what you do now because, it's such a decision that I don't want to make it. I'm glad I don't. I am interested to see what's going on. Google the VIN number of the truck before you buy it or look at it. It will give you more information than Rig Dig. Those guys are a ripoff. I have heard a few people say Rig Dig is kind of a waste. I've never personally used it. The truck I have now, I bought it from the Volvo dealership near my house. I know the guys. I've worked with the guys. And the guy that owns the carrier I'm leased to, he's bought numerous trucks from those guys. So he's got a relationship with them. And, they work with us on the warranty stuff, like where other places might be like, oh, they'll fix something else just to get you down the road, or they'll reset the codes just to get you down the road and let the other place work on the warranty. This particular place doesn't mind dealing with the warranty company, And so yeah, we get things done a little quicker there. And so having that relationship with that dealership and knowing the fleet that this truck came out of, and knowing, like they had maintenance records on it. Um, Not only the Volvo dealership where I got it, but the place where I get this truck worked on mostly had this truck in their system, and they had a list of everything that had been done to it at a Freightliner network. So, I had a pretty good history on it. I felt confident with it. And, that place, they're not a Freightliner dealership, but they're a the Detroit Diesel certified place. So, I took it in there and had them go through it. Like, I think I ran it maybe about 5,000 miles, and then I took it in there and had them go through it. And they came back with a bunch of stuff that needed to be replaced, and everything that was under warranty, they went ahead and took care of. I did the crankcase filter and the housing and everything, that it basically the blow-by tubes situation. It's like a centrifugal force thing on this truck, and they replaced all that under warranty right off the bat. So, yeah, it was pretty good. And that was during Corona, so they were trying to drum up business pretty bad, so they were nitpicking it, which I didn't care. I'm like, hey, I'd rather you nitpick it while it's still under the Freightliner warranty. So that's what we did. Don says you got it right. Thanks, Don. Appreciate that. Nailed it here. Thanks for coming in. Nailed it. Nailed it says those are the same guys that cut holes in their truck floors and crap out the holes. Oh man, I was talking to guys up in Canada one time, and the guy was telling me that there was like 3 guys in one truck, and I was talking to him. I was like, man, that must be a lot of bathroom breaks, like 3 people in a truck, because I've only teamed. Well, I didn't team. I trained, which at USA Truck is considered teaming. Their training department is non-existent. It's a teaming situation. So what happened was, I was talking to this guy. I was like, man, that must be a lot of bathroom breaks, because I was like, when I had 2 people in the truck, it was just me and another person. It's like when you get up from sleeping, like you pull over, pee on the side of the road, you do whatever. The guy said, yeah, we don't stop. He was like, we've got a hole cut in the floor with the garden hose that goes down through it, and a funnel, like a urinal. So yeah, that was his scenario. Underneath one of the cabinets, they had a funnel with a garden hose attached to it, ran down through the floor. So they didn't stop for pee breaks. Yeah. So yeah, that's those guys. That's the guys that leave the soiled underwear laying in the truck stop parking lot. Hey, Griggs, okay, yeah. I mean, if you're, and I would look into glider kits too, Sorry, guys, it froze up on me there, man. Appreciate everybody sticking with me. But yeah, I would throw a little warranty on it if you're going to get one of those Freightliners. And I'm seriously thinking my truck may just be a glider kit. I don't know. I just feel like glider kit. I've looked at them for years. I used to live not far from where the Fitzgerald place is in Tennessee, and I always wanted one of those. But then I heard a bunch of guys saying that they're buying parts from China, and so who knows with that. They're putting refurbished Chinese parts in those, then you'd be no better off, in my opinion. So and that's just what you hear. But usually, if enough people are saying it, it's probably something to it. I think Select Trucks, or no, it's Harrison Freightliner out in I think they're in Iowa. They build glider kits, and the company I'm leased onto has their own shop. And I've talked to the guy that owns that about building a glider kit before. Just buying everything and having them assemble it. So I don't know. I'm looking at stuff like that. I like to explore all the options. Maybe look at things that other people aren't looking at. If I did a glider kit, though, I would want it in a Cascadia. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would want the most aerodynamic I could get, on a common glider kit. So, if I was building a truck, I would probably end up with like a Cascadia with like a 6NZ cat in it and a 13 speed. I mean, if I'm just snowballing and saying what I would build, probably with like some 308 rear end in it. Yeah, that's probably where I would end up. Either a 6NZ cat or 12.7 Detroit and a Cascadia with a 13 speed. And yeah, I just say catch me if you can. You know what I mean? uh, let's see. Let's get back to some comments here. Driving by Braille says, I pulled a truck for someone that did a dig rig. Didn't even show it was in a fatal accident. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty bad when the truck's been in a fatal accident and rig dig's not showing that. Just for the curiosity of it, well, I don't know, because like I know where this truck has been. This truck was in the same fleet from the time it was new to like 400,000 miles. So I was gonna say I may just do a rig dig on this truck just to see, like, if it brought anything up. But I would like to have a truck that I know has some dirt on it and try a rig dig on it, do like on my channel, do it just to see, what comes up. I may do one on this one just for the experience and show people what it's all about. Because I think next time I do an oil sample on this truck, I think I'm going to do all that on my channel. That way people see what's going on with the oil sample. Because this truck is set up to go 50,000 mile intervals because it's got a bypass filter on it and everything. But the problem is, I'm just not crazy about a 50,000 mile interval, especially with idling the truck like I do and all that good stuff. I'm just not crazy about it. I do mine about every 20 to 25,000. I just don't want that soot building up in the oil. But they say if you use Delo full synthetic, you use their filters, everything, you can go 50,000 miles. And I'm just like, I don't know. That seems like a lot to me. Trucker Mo Biz says, I've got to go. Keep up the good work, Cash. See you next time. Yeah, thanks for coming by, Trucking Mo Biz. I know you're a busy guy, man. I appreciate you stopping in. Everybody go check out Trucking Mo Biz over there. And I didn't get my other phone out. I've been meaning to get my other phone so I can drop some links of these other guys. Because sometimes it's hard to find the channel. Now on YouTube, you can't click on like their icon and hit go to channel. So sometimes like it's hard to search a channel and find, find their channel. So yeah, you might have to dig a little bit, but Trucking Mo Biz it's worth digging. Philip Trucker, appreciate you coming in. Philip Trucker, hey everybody, what's up, Philip Trucker? Everybody hit that like button for me if you could. Push the, it just pushes the live out there to more people. The more people we get in here, the better the conversation, and the more, we learn from everybody having more opinions in here. Philip Trucker says, pulling a placard load of Bic lighters. So I assume they're full. Woo. Yeah. Hope that pays good. Is that a heavy load? I don't know. Loads are funny how the weight does, It's like, I used to haul a lot of bullets out of Minnesota. There's, Vista Outdoors, which is Federal Ammunition, has a bullet plant up there. and they would be tiny little pallets. They'd only be like three or four stacks of shells high. Maybe a foot and a half off the pallet, but it would be like 45,000 pounds, 44,000 pounds. Because lead is heavy. But funny thing is, bullet loads are not placard, or those weren't, because they were small ammunition, and of a 40 something thousand pound load, there would only be like 45 or 50 pounds of gunpowder in that whole entire load, or at least that's what they said. But yeah, they weren't placard loads. So interesting if big lighter, like if you're going to store a big lighter, is like what, $2.99, $3. God, how many of those could you put in a trailer? Like 100,000 of those. Anthony Drummond is here. Thanks, Anthony, for coming in. He says, "What's up, driver?" Not much. Just shooting the crap on a Monday night. Waiting on the Denny's over here to have a cook come in so I can go over there and get some moons over my hammy, smothered and covered. Come on. So let's see here. Nailed it here. You're not worried about resale on gliders if the EPA gets even more restrictive on emissions in a few years. Now, the way I would look at that would be, if they got even more strict about it, I think the states I run in, I could probably get away with it for enough time to make it worth the effort. I'll be honest with you. I've looked into building a glider kit, but I'll be honest with you. If I was really going to pull the trigger on a glider here in about 3 years, if I was going to pull the trigger on a glider in 3 years, it would probably be a used glider. I probably wouldn't actually build my own. I would probably buy a used one, and I would probably be looking for something like 300, 400,000 miles, and I probably wouldn't be paying that much for it at that point. So I think I could get a year or two out of it and make it worth the effort. Jeremy Griggs says, "Heard a lot about Pittsburgh Power." Yeah, I used to listen to Kevin Rutherford, and they were on there a lot. And I just never bought the, I had a truck that was like perfect for a Pittsburgh Power box or whatever they called it. I had a Acer Caterpillar, but I just never pulled the trigger on it. I don't know. I don't know. Aftermarket stuff is kind of, I know it can be really good, but it can also go really bad. So I don't know. Trevor Vosberg is here. Thanks for coming in, Trevor. 50,000 on an oil change. Yeah, that's what I got, a 2016 DD15, and that is what the manufactured recommendation is on this truck. If you use the oil they tell you to use, you use the filters they tell you to use, and you pull oil samples at I think they recommend you pull oil samples at 25,000 miles. I think that's what they want. So, and it's because they've got a bypass filter on here. And if y'all got, if somebody's not familiar with bypass filters, I'll give you the real quick layman's go on it. It's a second oil filter that is a really, really tiny micron. So it gets little tiny particles out. But where your main oil filters probably filters the 11 or 12 gallons of oil your truck has in it. It probably filters it every hour or two. This bypass filters maybe, a half a gallon every hour or two. So it takes longer for the oil to go through it, but it gets the tiny little particles out of the oil, the soot and the dirt and everything out of it. So that's what Freightliner says, because they've got the bypass filter on there. And that's what they say, but you gotta do everything they say to do. So I'm old school, man. I'm not used to trucks doing that. I mean, and I know how the bypass filter works, and I see that could work, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm old school. I'm old school. I like that. I like changing that oil out every 15,000. Of course, on this truck I do use the oil they say to use, but I still do it like every 20,000 to 25. The last oil change I did at 17,000 miles. Um, you know, I think the guy. Matter of fact, speaking of Pittsburgh Power, that guy he had a good slogan I've always carried with me, and that is oil is cheap and engines are expensive. So, you know, who's to say, what's a $400 oil change when you've got, a $36,000, you know, if you have to have this engine taken out and replaced by Freightliner, you're looking at, 30 mid 30s, so what's a $400 oil change? Um, let's see. Philip Trigger says about 34, not too bad. Philip Trigger bills say 138,000 lighters. I think some are the mini ones. Wow, yeah, that's a heck of a load there. So 34,000. That's on the weight. Okay. First I was thinking that was how many lighters. So yeah, that's not a bad load. 34,000. That's doing it. Let's see, Trevor Vosberg, do you have trailer side skirts or look at or compare them? Yes, I do have trailer side skirts, and I don't like pulling trailers that don't have them. It's about a mile per gallon, to be honest with you, from what I see. It's a big difference. Now, I had a trailer for a little while that had the plastic thing right before the tandems, like under the trailer. It's like a plastic air down type thing. Y'all may know what I'm talking about. You see them a lot on Landstar trailers. More people are going to them now. Those work better than side skirts, believe it or not. That plastic thing up under there, and they got an even newer one now that's called Eco, but it's spelled EKO, and that one actually connects to your tandems, and it slides with your tandems. So I can't wait to get a trailer with those on it, but we'll just have to see how that works out. But yeah, anytime I switch trailers at the yard, I don't like switching trailers, number one, because I run a lot, so typically I get a newer, nicer trailer, and I don't like dropping it. I like sticking with it because they typically, if they've got a nice new one at the yard, that's the one I get. The one I got right now is a 2000. It's a little older. I think it's a 2015. It's a 2015 Great Dane, and it's got the big carrier unit on it. It's got a 7500 X4 carrier unit on it, so it does the thing you want it to do. And yeah, it's got side skirts, it's got tire inflation, it's got duals on it. They've got a couple Great Danes that have the Thermo King, the Whisper unit or whatever it's called. They've got a few of those here that have super singles on them, and I like pulling those because I get a little bit better fuel mileage pulling the super single trailers. So, but yeah, I got to run over and pick up a load in the morning. It's negative 10 degrees going back up to Minnesota. So, let's see. But yeah, I would like to have. I wish we would get to the point to where we're putting those. Those. I can't remember who makes them now, but instead of having the big trailer tail, it's just a piece of plastic on the back of the trailer now. Instead of having the big wings that come out, you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to think of who makes those. Smart something, I think, makes those. I can't remember the name of the company. If anybody remembers, yeah, just put it in the chat if you remember the name of the company that makes the new trailer tail. They're not a big tail. They're just literally a piece of plastic that mounts on the end of the trailer. I will tell you this right now: if if I buy my own trailer, which I'm definitely thinking about just buying my own trailer, um, I'm gonna go all out on it. It's gonna be a very aero trailer. I may do like what's that noose bomb that has the skirts that go tires. I may go that way. I may go that route with it. Go all the way with it, and have me have the skirts that go all the way down the side, or maybe get that EKO, the Eco uh, air deflector that connects to the front of the tandems. But yeah, I would go all out with it, man. The more fuel efficient you can get it, the better. Um, it's your number one expense. Like fuel. So the less you can spend on fuel, the more money you get to keep. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, there we go. I think I'm back where I was. Jeremy Griggs says, "Got to run. Have a good one." Thanks for coming in, Jeremy. I appreciate it. Appreciate all that you do, man. That super chat was awesome. I appreciate that. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. 50,000 on the oil change. Oh, I missed a comment here, I think, from Philip Trucker at Jeremy. Some of the trucks they've turned on YouTube are insane. Let's see. Jeremy's got to go. Young Trucker 215, what's up? He says, when I drive for Schneider, they change the oil every 75,000 miles. Yeah. You've got to be careful with some of these fleet trucks because they're doing stuff like that. Now, I don't know. Maybe their situation is designed to do that, but you know, there was a guy that's leased on here where I'm at, and he was like an AMSOIL distributor. I don't think AMSOIL has a very high bar for being a distributor. They want to pump oil. If they've got to turn it into a pyramid scheme, I don't think they care. But he was telling me that if you're doing your oil changes every 15,000 miles, if you switch to AMSOIL, you should be doing them like every 30,000 miles. And he's like, so AMSOIL's a little bit more expensive, but the oil lasts twice as long. And I'm like, I don't care what kind of oil it is. When it gets dirt and soot in it, it's useless. Like, it's useless. So when that oil gets black, and, it's just, like I said, oil is cheap, engines are expensive. I think the guy at Pittsburgh Power was the one that said that. And, that's the darn truth right there. Coming out of Cali with the high winds last week, I was glad that trailer didn't have skirts. I don't know. Like, I feel like that could be double-edged, though, because if that wind gets up under that trailer, couldn't that be even... yeah, wind is the worst, man. Like, you can't see it coming, and it can, like, just whip you around. I hate driving on a gusty day. You're just cruising along, and all of a sudden you're 2 foot from where you were, side to side. It's a pain. Or those days where you're driving and it's you got to hold. Let's see here. Philip Trucker says, I've always wondered if the trailer tails actually did much. They don't do anything near what the side skirts do. They do add to it, but not much. And now they've got them where, they're not a big tail. They're literally just a piece of plastic that goes on the side of the trailer, and all it does is when the wind comes down the trailer, it pushes that wind out about an inch. And they say that does as much as having that huge tail on there. So, let's see here. Jerry Rocks, do you have an overall MPG average since you bought your truck? I would have sat down and calculate that, but I would say ballpark, it's probably in like the low 8s. It was about 8.5, but I've been idling a lot since summer rolled around, so it's probably went down some. I'm probably in like 8.2, 8.4 ballpark, somewhere in there. Um, so yeah, it's probably ballpark, like 8.2, 8.4. Oh, I didn't even see I got a super chat. K Save is here. All right, I'm glad you came in, man. He's hype. He's hype. That super sticker almost looks like me. They made a super sticker of me. That's cool. Let's see. But yeah, I would say I'm low eights with all the idling. Probably, I mean, it's probably come down a few tenths. Driving by Braille says side skirts in the western states with the winds was another smart decision from the California government. Yeah, leave it to the California government to, do the right thing as far as, for the truckers. And thanks for that super chat again, K-Save. I appreciate all those super chats, guys. You don't have to do that, but I guarantee you I'll go into Denny's and I will get it smothered and covered with that $4.99. Let's see what else is going on here. If y'all could hit that like button for me, appreciate that. That just kind of pushes the chat out to more people. Paul Harris says, appreciate you coming in, Paul. I think I seen you here earlier, but if I didn't say thanks for coming in, thanks for coming in. Synthetic oils have a longer life. Yeah. The base of the oil, like the chemicals and stuff that make up the base of the oil, are they don't break down. But the fact is, it's not so much about the oil breaking down on like a 50 or a 75,000 mile oil change. It's what gets into that oil. You get dirt in there or soot gets in there, and when that oil turns black, and Freightliners used to be the worst for that. Like, especially like if you get like what am I saying? A 60 series, like a 14 liter, not the 12.7 as much, but the 14 liter. When they put the EGR on there, I mean, you could put fresh oil in it, drive it around the block, and that oil be black like tar, just because there was that much soot getting in there. So yeah, synthetic oils do not break down like dinosaur oil does, but it's what gets in there in that 50,000 miles, because the longer you run the oil, the better chance there is for, you're going to get some dirt in there, you're going to get, things like that. So that's what concerns me a lot with it, really. And that's why they put that bypass filter on there, it collects that soot and everything. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, synthetic oils, like, anytime I do it, I change it. I go synthetic. Even like when I had that Kenworth, I would do. It had been run its entire life on just base oil, and when I got it, I switched it over to semi-synthetic. But I did, all differential synthetic. I mean, it like you said, it just don't break down like base oil does. So, to me, on things that go long, extended intervals, like the differentials, things like that, I would much rather go synthetic, because, that differential that oil has a rough life anyway, because it's got a long interval, it's got to last. And, pulling these heels in the heat of the summer, let me tell you that, that differential oil is getting a workout. And let me tell you, my differential exhaust tube got clogged up last summer before last, and it finally broke free, and the differentials were overheating when it finally pushed whatever was clogging it out. I didn't realize it was clogged. That's not something I used to randomly check. But let me tell you, I check it now, because it costs about $8,000 between having that truck towed to Freightliner and having them rebuild the rear ends. That was about $8,000. Actually, I think it was more than $8,000. I think just the Freightliner bill was $8,000. Um, I don't know. It's been a while back, but yeah, let me tell you, don't go cheap on your oil. um, as I like to say, I'm so cheap it's expensive. Let's see. Philip Trucker says diesel oil is a great weed killer, not EPA approved though. Yeah, yeah. True that. I see some truck stop. Where I think it's on the. Where is that? That's on the Ohio Turnpike where they have all those signs around the parking lot that say "Don't drain oil on the pavement." And I'm like, really? You got to have signs that say "Don't drain oil on the pavement"? Is there really that many people draining oil on the pavement that you got to put signs all around the parking lot? And then like I like defying the rules, so it made me want to go. It made me want to go drain some oil on the pavement. Just kidding, but let's see here. Philip Trick says, so on the topic of the chat, what does the gatekeeper thing mean? I have no idea. Someone earlier said I should stop doing something or I might be labeled a gatekeeper, and I was like, being a gatekeeper sounds cool. So maybe I don't know. Like maybe I want to be that. It was BOC that said it, so I don't know if he was joking. I don't know. Um, some guy was trolling me, and then I responded, and BOC was like, "Oh, you shouldn't do that. You'd be labeled a gatekeeper." So I was like, "Hey, maybe I want to be a gatekeeper. I don't know." Spartan, hey, thanks for coming in, Spartan. This is Sparta. Says Mr. Spartan says it's the lubricity with decent testing like an OPS system. A full synthetic should be able to go 50,000 miles with testing. Yes, yes, that is what they are saying on this Freightliner. That because it comes from the factory with a bypass system like OPS, and they're saying if you use Dello, which is their oil, not their oil, it's made by Chevron, I think, but it's their like sponsored, recommended, whatever you want to call it. It's their like preferred oil. So what they're saying is if you use their preferred oil, their preferred filters, and you test at, I think the interval is 25 or 30,000 miles, they say you can go 50,000 miles on an oil change. I am old school, and when it got to about 20, I got nervous and I punked out and I changed it. I had it in my head. I was like, I'm gonna go to 30 and I'm gonna get the sample and I'm gonna, and then I punked out. So yeah, I got nervous at 17. I changed, or first time I changed it right at 20. I was like 20,200 the first time, and then the second time I got it changed at like 17,000 miles just because it was convenient. I was like, run that was kind of pushing it, and so I was like, why I got the time, I'm just going to go ahead and swing in here and get it changed. So I got it changed to about 17,000 last time. I got about 10,000 on the oil change that's in it now. Uh, Probably just stick with the 20. It's with the price of these engines these days. What's $400? Al Johns is here. Thanks for coming in, Al Johns. So you are officially set for Gulfport. You're out on Memphis now. You're buy a little cheap. You'll buy not a cheap truck, but a good used truck, and run bananas out of Gulfport down there. Probably do pretty good doing that. I mean, they don't pay awesome, but man, they're like nonstop down there. The banana boat never misses a docking. Philip Trigger says, when I worked as law enforcement, we switched to synthetic for our cars in 2006. They lasted a lot longer before they got worn out. Yeah, I mean, I'm all about synthetic oil. I really am. And to be honest with you, like, I understand, like what Freightliner is saying. Hey, we put a bypass filter on here, like, it's all It's all designed for 50, and like in my head, I know it's designed for 50, and I'm willing to put their filters and their oil and all that in there. But then it gets to like 20,000 and it starts looking dark, and I'm like, I mean, I should probably just pull a sample, because just because oil is dark doesn't mean it's like done. And sometimes like you don't even have to change the oil. You can just, uh, they got those filters that have base in them, and you just go buy a filter with base and screw it on, and boom. Um, so yeah, synthetic oil is the way to be, especially in long-term wear situations like differentials and all that good stuff. Um, let's see, where was that? Hey, Al Johns. Al John says, I was a weed killer back in the 90s. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that, but okay. um, Anthony Drummond says, do you take your 34 reset at home or on the road? I typically take mine at the house. Occasionally I take them on the road. Um, Sometimes I get loads out of the Chicago area. We have a direct customer in this area. And sometimes those loads, they want you to pick them up on Saturday. And the first delivery will be like Louisville, Kentucky on like a Monday afternoon. But they will pay you layover to go sit on that load. So when I get those, I take a 34, and they basically pay me to take the 34. So, but other than that, when I start running low on hours, the way I run is I typically go for money, not miles. Now, I typically end up running a lot of miles, but I prefer to go for money over miles. So, like, on my 70 right now, I'm recapping hours right now, but I'm probably under 50 hours for the last 8 days. I try to grab these multi-stop loads that pay better and that don't have a lot of miles on them. It's basically babysitting the load, and I prefer those. So yeah, anytime I start running low on hours, or like I keep a real close eye, like 4 or 5 days out on my hours. If I start looking like it's getting crappy, then I will point it toward the house. And you nailed it. Is Gatekeeper like one of those fancy doormen at the fancy hotels to keep the poor peasants out? I don't know. That could be. Maybe that's what it is. I always thought as the gatekeeper was like, the troll at the bridge that won't let people pass for some reason. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was funny. I was like, is Gatekeeper good or bad? So I don't know. I thought I'd throw it in there because, I like showing off what I don't know. um, Fellow Trigger says, I was wondering about the Army, and you get put just being a gate guard. Wouldn't make sense in this case, though, because Cash is very competent. I think that's what that is. Yeah, I don't know. I was watching a show. I can't remember what it was on. I think it might have been the History Channel. Oh, I wish I could remember what it was on. I used to watch it on Roku, so I don't really know what it was on. But it was a show about these guys. They were like super intelligent. And I mean, they had like stupid IQs, like 140, 150. They were in that club of like the super high IQ people. And one guy had like an IQ of 160, and he was a doorman at like a prestigious apartment building in New York. So, I was thinking like, you know, maybe I'm working too hard for not as much money as that guy probably makes. Because you got to think, if you got an IQ like 160 and you're a doorman, and given a lot of the stuff on History Channel is not factual, so. But it did make me wonder, if he is that smart, why is he a doorman? Like, why isn't he like solving the world's problems? But anyway, I don't remember what that was on. Let's see what we got here. Al John says, smart move. I don't trust these recommendations. Yeah. Let's see here. Spartan, the problem with full synthetic is it's designed to go the distance, designed to go that 50,000. So when you change that oil early, unless you have a reason to, like fluid or cert or whatever, yeah, um, the problem with full synthetic is it's designed to go the distance, designed to go that 50,000. So when you change the oil early, unless you have a reason, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I'm justified in changing that oil early, but um, you know, when you're old school and you've been doing it a certain way for a long time, it's like one half of my brain is going, you understand the science, it's been engineered to work a certain way, and then the other side of my head said, for the last 15 years, you've been changing oil every 12 to 15,000 miles, and yeah, it's like I got to get my head around it. Al John, yep, I'm considering it. Yeah, I mean, like you could probably do power only pulling bananas because they pull like about, and that's the only thing I really know that's going on down there. Of course, maybe you want a job that's got benefits and all that kind of stuff too. Carlos, Cassius King, and chat. Yeah, everybody say hi to Carlos and thanks for coming in, Carlos. If everybody could hit that like button for me, it just pushes the chat out to more people. Al John says I was a pot smoking hippie in my 20s. I don't doubt it, and I will plead the fifth on my position on what I was doing when I was in my 20s. Philip Trigger says I bought my car from the city I worked for. It's 2005 Crown Vic. I did a 6-speed manual swap on a few years ago. Bottom end has never been touched. 235K. Yeah, I mean, those freaking cars are meant to do it. That's a solid ride, especially if you can buy it correctly. If you can buy one of those cars for, auction price, or yeah, if you can get into one of those for 10 grand or less, man, that car will last you a stupid long time. Philip Trucker says, wife has a nicer car, though, and I handicap liftgate van for our son. Philip Trucker says, but that car has been synthetic 90% of its engine life. Yeah, I mean, I say switch them early, and you'll benefit from it, Let's see, what else is going on tonight? I'm currently in Indiana. I don't know where everybody else is at, but I'm in Indiana. Got a load I got to pick up. I got a frozen food load I got to pick up tomorrow. It's pretty sweet little load. It's picks up here in Chicago. It's negative 10 degrees, and it's got 3 deliveries in Minneapolis. So, but it's light. It only weighs like 20,000 total. So we'll snatch that up in the morning at about 8 o'clock, and we will be up in Minnesota tomorrow. So that's always good. Got 2 stops tomorrow, then it tunnels out Thursday. So I don't know. I may take the weekend off. It depends on freight's paying good right now, though. Man, there's some good paying stuff out there. I hate to take a whole weekend off. Let's see what everybody's saying here. Paul Harris says, the smart people can't get out of their own way, no common sense. Yeah, I've wondered about that, like some of these people, man, super smart, but it's like life ain't as simple as just how smart you are. It takes a lot of luck and a lot of willpower to really get get ahead in life. Spartan, I've been driving for 30 years. You have to move with the times. Full synthetic oil change is what, almost $1,000. It's a lot of money. Yeah, no, you can get you can get a synthetic for like, I don't know, I can't remember what the last one I got was. It was like $500-600, something like that. Let's see. Nailed it says, I'm with you. It can hurt to replace the oil. It can't hurt to replace the oil. It's a guarantee to be clean coming out of the jugs. With new filter, it eliminates the question whether synthetic is worth the risk. Yeah, I mean, uh, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's I figure if I do it every 20,000 miles, it's costing me like what, one or two, 1 or 2 cents, 3 cents a mile maybe on the top end. It's like, I don't know. It's not that big of an expense. Let's see here. Anthony Drummond, what's considered a glider kit? Um, a glider kit needs to have basically what it's going to come down to. It's going to be considered like the truck has to have like two of the three major components replaced with components that were built before a certain date. So basically, if you have a 2020 truck rolling, just a chassis, you can have the engine, the transmission, or the rear ends would be the main thing. Those three components, two of those three need to be replaced. They can't be new. Like, they can be rebuilt or remanufactured, but they can't be like from the year model of the truck. Like you see a lot of people pulling engines like out of junkyards and stuff, like 99 year model engines and transmissions. And they'll take and rebuild the entire engine, have it, acid washed, new sleeves put in it, deck the heads, the whole nine. And then they'll take that engine, rebuild it, take the transmission, remanufacture the engine, and then they'll get a rolling chassis from like Freightliner. Doesn't have engine transmission, but it's got everything else. And they'll put that engine transmission from a 99 model truck, and then what they'll do is they'll title that as a like homemade truck. So basically what that does is it titles the truck to the engine and transmission year. So then you can operate the truck as that year. You don't have to have all the exhaust and everything from the newer truck, all the emissions stuff. There's a few people out there building them. You don't see them like you did a few years ago. They got really popular back in like when they first started really going heavy on DEF. You really started seeing it pick up because like 2011, 2012, 2013, they didn't have the DEF systems figured out quite right. So, yeah. What's considered a glider? Oh, yeah, I just read that one. Philip Trucker, it was the car I had for 1.5 years. I bought it from work, $1,800. Oh, man, yes. Yeah, I mean, like, if you're just wanting a rock solid, reliable car, if that's 1,800, yeah, they should arrest you because you probably that's as good as stealing right there. That car will probably last you for the rest of your life if you take care of it. That's one of those. As long as it don't rust apart, it's probably going to be there for a while. Al John says, "Your common sense. That's why I watch." Hey, I appreciate that, Al Johns. I take all compliments. I'm not the type of person that's going to sit here and go, "Oh, that's too much." I love compliments. Feed my ego. I'm just playing, but I do appreciate it, Al Johns. While Bill Anderson pops in and says, "Live again," you better believe it, brother. If you ever find yourself bored, you just come search for me, and I'll be live, and I will dance and do the dance and entertain as much as I can. And that's what we're here for. Everybody come in, hit that like button when you come in. Check out the other channels. You know, if anybody's got a channel in here, you're more than welcome. We're back, I think. Let's see here. I don't have my other phone going. See if I'm back or not. But I'm gonna assume I'm back and just start my rambling again. But yeah, Wild Bill, just come check it out. You know, we try to get the most people in here as we can because that makes for the best conversation. People asking questions and leaving comments, and but yeah, I agree with. I'm going back through here, just make sure I didn't miss anything. I agree with you, Spartan. I mean, I gotta start. I gotta start maxing out these oil changes a little bit more, you know. But at the same time, I don't know. Maybe not. Might push it to 25. Let's push it to 25. Let's live dangerously. You know how it is when you get set in your ways. It's tough. Let's see here. Let's see. Philip Trucker says, "No, I live in South Carolina. We don't do rust here, really. Yeah, as long as you're not near the ocean, you're all good." Wild Bill says, if I knew if I missed this one, I could catch the next one later tonight. Yeah. I mean, you know, I'll probably run in Denny's, get a you know, moons over my Hemi, smothered, covered. I go in there again tonight, and the lady tells me, "Would you like to dine in?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want to dine in, please." And she tells me, "Oh, our cook won't be here for another 30 minutes. Is that going to be a problem?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, it's a problem. Who's going to cook the food? I'm not going to sit here for 30 minutes waiting on this cook to show up. That's already 30 minutes late." You know, it's like, woo. Yeah, gotta love Denny's. But thanks for coming in, Wild Bill. I appreciate it. Like I say, the more people we get in here, the more conversation we have, and the better it is, in my opinion. And Anthony Drummond says, "Would you recommend a new owner-operator to contract with dispatch service or a small fleet operation?" Depends on what you're doing. Depends on what you're getting into. But I don't know. Depends on how much business acumen you have, how much money you got saved up, that type of thing. I don't know. Dispatch services are, I don't know. I hear a lot of mixed results out of a dispatch service because, you know, that's just like a dispatch at a company. It's flipping a coin. It could be good, it could be bad. You know, you got to figure. But yeah, as far as like a small fleet, my recommendation on a small station would be, what are they doing for you? You know, that's the key. Don't let somebody take a percentage of your money that's not earning it. Um, you know, over here where I'm at, like, I hold their feet to the fire as far as, you know, what am I getting for using 20% of my money? And, you know, the day that it's not worth it to me will be the day that I will move on, or I will go on authority again and go down that rabbit hole all over again. Let's see, on for a minute. Al John says they have the Dells figured out better. I don't know why. I don't know that they'll last 3 million miles. No, I don't think they have them figured out like that, Johns. They're replaceable parts. Yeah, it's not meant to last forever. Um, I seen a thing the other day that says 50% of DD15s make it to 1.2 million, which is the I don't what is that, the B50 or whatever. I can't remember what that's called. I think it's the B, like the one where it's recommended you know, do the end frame. So they say 50% of those are making it to the 1.2 million, which is when they say that should be done. So yeah. Me personally, when this one runs out of warranty at about 750, that's when I'll be looking to trade this one in, to be honest with you. because that's when my last Freightliner started like really going to hell, was when it was at about 800,000. So it's like they're engineered, to like fall apart as soon as the warranty goes out on them. So yeah, um, I mean, obviously it's engineered into them. Philip Trigger says, weird thing is I'm actually in the same zip code as Just Trucking. Yeah, you should do good down there. That's a good area. Like a lot of manufacturing in that area. Al John's at Wild Bill. Hey, yeah, everybody say hi to each other. Go check out everybody's channel. Get to know each other. Wild Bill, the dev system started in 2010. Even our spotters have it. Yeah. Yeah, like those early years, like 11, 12. Yeah. Whew, man. Some of those had some real issues. Let's see. Philip Trucker, you try the country fried steak skillet at Denny's. It's my favorite there. Yeah. Yeah. I love a country fried steak. I'm all about that. I'm all about that lumberjack slam. Come on. Uh, Wild Bill, Al Johns, hello. But yeah, Al Johns, back to that. Sorry, I got distracted there. They put a lot of those banana containers on a chassis, and then guys run them like 100 miles, 200 miles out. Because on the shorter runs, it's not worth taking them off the container, putting them on a reefer trailer, and then running them 200 miles. So they just put the container on the chassis and then take it to wherever and unload it straight off the container. Just an idea. I would imagine that pays pretty good because they're shorter runs. I don't know. Maybe something to look into. And there again, I don't know. If you want a company job, I guess I shouldn't give advice to people that aren't asking for advice. Mind my own business. But good luck moving down there, man. It's always good to see people, doing what they want to do and like having some happiness in life. I love it in Gulfport, man. Every time I go down there, I make an excuse to like, kill some time. I'm like, oh, I'm out of hours today. Let's book something, let's get the banana load for tomorrow, because you pretty much get one for any time you want, they're constant, they're steady. So, yeah, I like killing time in Gulfport, man. It is beautiful down there. Spartan, just test. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying. Nailed it. Do they have... All right, I am glitching like crazy. Let's see here. Where was I at? Spartan, just test. Yeah. Let me grab this other phone real quick, guys. Let's see here. Where was I at? Spartan, just test. Yeah. Let me grab this other phone real quick, guys. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I mean, I totally get it. Changing oil early that, is meant to go a certain amount of miles is, you're pouring good oil out. I mean, I get what you're saying. But yeah, I mean, I'm not arguing the point. Do they... Nailed it says, do they have AC at Denny's this time? I did feel cooler in there. But last time I showed up at like 2 in the afternoon, so it was like hot out, But yeah, it was a little cooler here when I got here this time, so it definitely felt cooler in there. Nailed it. Philip, do you have Michelin and BMW? As far as South Carolina, I assume that's what you're talking about. Yeah, they both got huge places over. Young Trucker 215. Yep, my 2012 Cascade was a lemon. Man, I had a 13, and I swear to you, I named it Patty, and then by the sold it, we had a nickname. It was Cow Patty because it was a flaming pile of, you know what? Well, Bill, we had issues with the DEF systems. Yeah, back then everybody was. I mean, there was no manufacturer that was, like, um, see, that was when I had my T600, and I bought that truck, 2007, and the engine was 2006. So it had the Acer cat stuff on it, but it didn't have DPF or DEF or none of that. But every time that thing would go to the shop, they would just be tons of them in there, getting that replaced and worked on. Let's see what we got here. Al Johns, I would like to get a good used truck and run containers, but I know how intermodal is. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, down there in Gulfport, I would focus on bananas if you're going to run containers down there. Those bananas are good money coming out of there. I mean, I can get them, like even a long load, like going all the way back to like Indianapolis or Minneapolis. You're talking like $2 a mile on a long run. So to get them, going like 100 or 200 miles, they probably pay like, three, four, $500. So yeah, that may be, do one of those a day and kick back, put your feet up at the house every day. Need to get my Twick. Yeah, I didn't have, last time I went down there, my Twick had like literally just expired like a couple weeks before. I think I was down there in like the beginning of May, and my Twick card expired at the end of April. But the broker pay, you can get an Escort, but if you're going to be doing it every day, yeah, you got to get that Twick. But I had to get an Escort, and the broker paid for it, so I didn't even care. I thought I was going to have to pay for it, but got the broker to reimburse that, so that was good. Spartan says, I had a 60 Series Detroit. I put 75,000 miles on it on one oil change. Test like crazy when I tore the engine apart before I parked it. Perfect inside. Yeah. Like, it's not, I don't know. It's not a guarantee because you have a lot of miles on your oil that it's bad, And that's why oil samples are, valuable. So, yeah, I mean, I like testing mine as well. Nailed it says, air conditioning at Denny's, your live feed is circle of death, bad again. Internet is like other live feeds, spotty. The circle of death. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with YouTube. Almost everybody's live I watch is just like absolute misery these days as far as so yeah, I don't know. It's got to be YouTube because, like I got Wi-Fi and 4G here, and it's a lot of the live feeds I'm watching. I'm thinking it's got to be the Google servers or something. Let's see here. But yeah, it's got to be. That sucks. Gotcha, Philip. See the three large earth-moving equipment tires sticking out of open containers. Sticking out of the top of the containers. I think I've seen those before. See the three large earth-moving tires sticking out of open containers. That's interesting. Let's see. Al Johns, maybe a Wi-Fi range extender. I am backed up right beside the Loves here. I mean, it's like, I think it's on the Google server end. I really do, because it's a lot of lives I'm watching these days. Anthony Drummond, do you get any good loads coming to Hunts Point Market? I'm not sure where that is. It doesn't sound familiar. Yep, shipping containers going to the ports. Uh, like the RVs. Al John says, not sure. K-Save, Bronx. Where you're at in the Bronx? Oh my God. Nailed it. Says Charleston or Savannah ports, I think. Um, what, on those Michelins or the containers, or the tires of the containers? Uh, Anthony Drummond, it's in New York. White is in New York. Did I miss something? Hunts Point Market in the Bronx. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Uh, no, I don't. I don't get in there like that. I really don't go to New York, honestly. Um, just not my thing. I mean, I don't like going to Jersey, but I went to Jersey last time just because the load was paying that good. But um, that was probably the best paying load I had all month was that load to Jersey. So sometimes you take it going in. Um, the containers going to the ships to go overseas. Yeah, those containers to Charleston. But no, I don't do Hunts Point in the Bronx. What's going on in Hunts Point down there? Almost done. Philip Trigger says almost done. They say, but they have been saying that for a year or so. Okay. KC says it's the biggest produce market in the United States. Okay. I will take your word for that. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I got no reason to go over there. Honestly, like I say, going up into the Northeast at all is just not my cup of tea. I do okay going in, but I never can like make it worth it. Coming out, and then you got to do some piecemeal work to get out of there, and you pay tolls and traffic. I don't know. It's just never been my thing. Let's see, where we at? Uh, so yeah, I learned something today. The biggest produce market in the United States is in the Bronx. Anthony Drummond's produce is in Hunts Point Market. Yeah, yeah, never been there. Young Trucker 215 says it's a cluster. That's what's going on down there. Yeah, okay, I wouldn't doubt that in the least. Um, let's see what we got here. Philip Trigger says almost done making the Charleston Point port deeper. Ah, okay. Okay. Gonna bring in the bigger ships, I guess. That would that'll help business. I don't mind going to Charleston. I used to do a lot of stuff out of Charleston and Savannah. But yeah, I don't know. When I get up in the Northeast, there's enough other drivers that want to do that. I don't feel the need. I need to run down there and get in their way. Let's see. BOC has talked about Hunts Point and the hookers he used to see. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it, man. Wouldn't doubt it. it's the largest produce market, that probably means there's a lot of truckers down there. So, fellow truckers, does anyone else besides me bring fishing poles with them? I do not bring fishing poles with me. Some might call him the worst trucking channel on YouTube. Um, he says yes. How much Everclear have you drunk tonight, BOC? Are you drinking the high octane? He says talking out of school nailed it. BOC, don't we all? Um, you're working? Oh, come on, man. How are we supposed to live vicariously through you if you're working? I mean, that's no fun. He says, now it says, oops, busted. Yeah, maybe we'll let you slide this time. Let's see. Philip Trucker. Fun killing time when the government tells you to sleep, but you can't. Yeah. That's one of the worst things about the hour of service. When we had exempt hours of service, I made more money and I slept way better. When I was tired, I pulled over and slept. And when I was not tired, I was making money. And yeah, boy, it was nice. But yeah, I don't know, what time is it? It is 8:46 where I'm at, so that's what's going on here. Al Johns, Al John says, I didn't like the eastern seaboard or the west coast, anything past Albuquerque. Yeah, you can have Albuquerque. Of all cities, of all states, I think my least favorite is New Mexico. Yeah, I think so. I had a really bad experience in Albuquerque. The Albuquerque State Police apparently thought I was smuggling drugs one time, and yeah, they disassembled my entire car. Had a drug dog go all through my car because I had Tennessee plates, and yeah, basically took my entire car apart and then half-ass put it back together and told me I was free to go. So New Mexico can, you know, whenever I become president, we're going to bulldoze New Mexico like we need a new Mexico. Isn't one Mexico enough? I'm going to bulldoze that crap to the ground when I become the king of the United States. Young Trucker 215 says $115 to go over the GW Bridge. Oh, yeah, get you some of that. New York City load better be high paying. Yeah, $115 for the pleasure of getting across that bridge that's got holes in it big enough to throw bowling balls through. Let's see what we got here. Philip Trucker, same here. Mostly it was hazmat stuff for hand sanitizer, but yeah, I could run hard and sleep when I wanted. Yeah, I love that no hours, man. That hours from now, that'll be telling stories on that one. I did a load. The best load I had that whole time was that one from went from like Long Beach, California to Atlanta, and then it finaled in Orlando, and paid like $7,500, and I did that joker in a weekend. Yeah, I don't know. I'm watching the other phone here. It looks like it's glitching like crazy. Love this stuff. It's the land of enchantment. You weren't enchanted? No. I was not enchanted. Is that what it is, New Mexico? I always think of that show, King of the Hill. The grandpa, he would always go. Somebody said something about we're going to New Mexico, and he was like, "There's a New Mexico." So I always think of that whenever I go through there. But yeah, it was a horrible experience. You know, but I didn't end up in a I didn't end up in a New Mexico prison, so that was a plus. So, guys, I guess I'm fixing to wrap this up. I'm watching the other phone over here, and it looks like it's just glitching like crazy. I appreciate everybody sticking with this glitching crap. I got to get this figured out. I don't know. I'm on the Love's Wi-Fi, and it says I have 4G. So yeah. Uh, let's see. We'll go through a few more comments here. Everybody hit that like button for me if you could, or dislike if you hate it. I don't care. Um, I'm sure I got some hate watchers, like Weight Watchers. I got hate watchers. Let's see. Young Truckers 215 says, need connections when coming into the Northeast corridor because loads leaving out stink. Yeah. Um, we have, like, normally if I'm even going in, it better be direct customer. I'm not pulling load board stuff into the Northeast because, I need like solid, $3.50 to $4 a mile going in because it's going to be like $1.25 coming out. So yeah, definitely connections. You got to have connections in that area, just the way it is. BOC says Hirschbach hate watchers money. Man, they got some for real hate watchers over there. I don't know. I love this whole. They got salary lease purchase over there now. You can be a lease purchase operator and work like all week for $1,250 salary. And guess what? You're a lease purchase, so they don't pay you no benefits. Let's see here. Thanks, man. Keep me awake for 100 miles. Where are you heading to, Al Johns? I know you was in Memphis, weren't you? Are you? For some reason, I want to say a scene earlier. You were saying you were going to Nevada or something like that. Jerry Rock says crap company of the year, Hirschbach. Yeah, they got my vote. I can't believe, like the crap they're getting away with over there. Absolutely amazing that a company with 1,600 drivers or 1,600 trucks has a $40 million jet. Like, yeah. Doesn't make any sense to me. Young Trucker 215, yes, they are crap. That video I made about them, man, that thing gets a ton of comments about, I worked here for 20 years and Hirschbach is the greatest and you have no morals, you're the devil. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, that sounds legit. So, I don't know. But I appreciate everybody coming by, hanging out with me. I think I'm going to hop off here now if nobody else got nothing else to throw in real quick. Al Johns is going back down to Gulfport. Oh, man, be good down there. I got to grab a load out of Chicago going back to Minneapolis. So you'll probably be in a nicer environment than me. They're benefiting off their lease purchase. Yeah, they're killing it on that lease purchase. Mark M, hey man, don't worry about it. Like it's no big deal. It's no big deal, man. I appreciate you coming by and saying that. Yeah, no worries. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. I know how it is. I know. Sometimes you leave a comment that I've left plenty of comments I've done later after I've thought about it for a minute. So, I can't judge you because I'm definitely not perfect on that. All right, let's see here. I got the glitchiest connection ever, guys. Let's see, make sure I read them all up here before I get out of here. Pay double what that truck is worth. Yeah, no kidding. You can go over there and get you an international LT for about $190,000 by the time you get it paid off. Love the twins. Yeah. I enjoy it up there. I'm glad I moved up there. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I appreciate everybody coming in. Thanks everybody for the super chats, Casey and um, I think it was Griggs. I think it was Griggs left me that other super chat. I appreciate that, guys. Uh, Tune in later. Hell, I don't know. Maybe back on here later. I like doing these lives. Be good out there, everybody.